Augie Smith. I am such a huge fan. I can't even tell you.
Yeah, that was loads of fun. That's super. That's very much like.
You want to live, don't just see.
That's very much like the Tom Horn attitude. It's like, hey, you know what?
Yeah. All right.
So Colorado and Washington.
Colorado and Washington had, in this past 2012 election, which was, despite my normal views about elections in general, and despite some of the stuff that went on in this state specifically, 2012 was kind of cool. A lot of pretty neat things going on in 2012. And one of them, of course, was the fact that Washington and Colorado legalized recreational marijuana use, which had never been done before. The last time they had tried it was in California, and everybody's like, oh no, it's California, it's going to pass. And it didn't. The theory that I heard about California was that actually the growers initiated the campaign against the law because they didn't want to go to business. But that's only, I have no confirmation for that. However, Washington and Colorado officially became the first states in the union to legalize recreational marijuana use, and of course, first thing I thought of when that happened was, yeah, okay, that's going to last long.
Right.
The feds are coming after your asses, guys. I mean, this is one of those things that the federal judicial system just does not ignore. You know what I mean? Like, this is going to be pretty open and shut. I'm not sure if this has any chance of going.
Lo and behold, huge surprise.
The Justice Department announced, I believe, either in late August, I think, late August, early September, the Justice Department announced that it will not challenge these state laws in court.
Yeah, I heard about this, and I think it's about damn time. Like, they've been cracking down on a lot of like wholesale dispensaries, especially in California.
Yeah.
And some in Washington even. But so that kind of upset a lot of folks because Obama ran specifically on a platform, like explicitly saying that if you want to smoke some marijuana, that's fine. We're only going to go after major suppliers, major drug runners. We're only going to go after the big, violent bad guys.
Right, but under his administration, they've been cracking down.
They've been cracking down like crazy. They've been going after all sorts of people, especially growers and dispensaries.
Yeah, well, I mean, Obama and campaign promises. I mean, what do you want from the man?
Yeah, but yeah, this thing with the Attorney General talking about Colorado and Washington is pretty different.
Tom Horn?
No, the state. National,
the federal judicial department. Sure, the Justice Department.
Yeah.
And it was like, it was surprising, and everybody was kind of like, yay, like, really, you're not gonna challenge this? And that's the first step toward. I mean, because let's be honest, it doesn't matter how many states make these laws until it's accepted, it's decriminalized at the federal level. We're still going to be having this conversation about marijuana use, and I don't know. To me, maybe I'm being too optimistic, but this seems like a step forward in terms of an actual national consensus on the fact that marijuana just isn't dangerous enough to be illegal.
Yeah, I mean the what's his name from CNN came out. And their big like medical, their main go-to guy for medical questions finally changed his mind and came out in favor of medical marijuana as like a legitimate, like really good piece of medicine. And he came out and specifically, explicitly called out the federal government and some special interest groups initiating a misinformation campaign that was passed on by the media without any question. That was like his like official statement. I wish I had recorded it, but it's not. I mean, it's not super. It's not terribly worth researching. But he basically said that in his medical opinion, the federal government and some special interests had lied to everyone, and the media went along with it.
Also
and the fact is, medical marijuana. And marijuana itself is not harmful, and medical marijuana is actually very helpful.
I mean, yeah.
And that's like a media guy.
Like, in terms of being harmful to you, I mean, sure. You know, you're smoking something, you're drawing it into your lungs, unless of course you're using a vaporizer, in which case it's much safer. But you know, I can't think of any other, you know, any commonly sold product that involves inhaling smoke into your lungs and potentially damaging that part of your body that might be completely legal.
Yeah.
You got me.
Yeah, there's not much there.
Yeah. I also want to say this. One of my favorite things about the entire 2012 legalization event was the statement by the Seattle Police Department. Did you hear this when it first happened?
I didn't.
Okay. This is the official statement.
I've also operated under the assumption that Seattle was one of those places where you could definitely walk around smoking a joint and not get in any trouble.
Well, sure, now you can.
I mean,
but,
last time I was there, like several years ago.
All right. Well, here's the statement of the Seattle, the official Seattle PD statement. All right, you ready for this? The police department believes that under state law, you may responsibly get baked, order some pizzas, and enjoy a Lord of the Rings marathon in the privacy of your own home if you want to.
Yeah, I mean that's
pretty much sums it up, don't it?
Pretty legit.
But you know, as far as the media's perception of the whole thing, I mean, this goes back. How long has the war on drugs been going on? It says it was Reagan, right?
Well, I mean,
and that was pretty much an anti-drug publicity campaign.
I mean, Reagan was sort of the second, was a big flare-up. Actually, Nixon had a like pretty violent sort of series of speeches about drugs and about having to crack down on drugs and the war on. I think he coined the term the war on dangerous drugs.
Okay, Nixon did.
And Nixon, and then it flared back up in the Reagan administration, which is a very complicated issue. But so closing out of sort of easing our way out of marijuana into other stuff. I think we might need a little bit of musical inspiration, something to think about while we're taking a minute.
Doctors Against Drugs? Boy, they suck.
Smoke 2 joints in the morning. I smoke 2 joints at night. I smoke 2 joints in the afternoon. It makes me feel alright. I smoke 2 joints in time of peace and 2 in time of war. I smoke 2 joints before I smoke 2 joints, and then I smoke 2 more. Oh, my daddy, he once told me, son, you be hardworking man. And mama, she once told me, son, you live as you can. Then one day, I met a man who came to me and said, hard work good and hard work fine, but first take care of him. So now I smoke 2 joints when I get up. In the car I smoke 2 joints. I smoke 2 joints when I play video game, and at every 10,000 points I smoke 2 joints. I smoke 2 joints in time of peace and 2 in time of war. I smoke 2 joints before I smoke 2 joints, and then I smoke 2 more.
So that was the Toys, not to be confused with Sublime, who stole every song they ever produced.
Every song.
If they didn't steal the lyrics, they stole the music. Every song.
Every song.
Every song.
Come on now. I don't. Okay, we shouldn't have this argument right now. But you know, it's not like I'm the world's biggest Sublime fan, for God's sakes. I'm just saying every song.
Pretty
really?
much. Pretty much.
All right.
And yeah, I'm being a little over sort of dramatic, but basically, yeah, they didn't really come up with any of that.
Fair enough. I always figured that song was a cover.
Yeah, that one in particular was a band called The Toys.
I thought it was Marley, though. Strikes me as the kind of thing Marley would have done. I remember watching an interview with George Clinton once. He talked about Marley coming over to hang out and jam. And he said, you know, and every time he would come over, Bob would bring over, he'd have this big old paper bag. And that paper bag was no joke, man. That paper bag hurt.
Yeah, I mean, I know he'd smoked a lot, and it was a big part of his like spiritual sort of identity.
Sure.
But he didn't take it. He didn't take it lightly. Bob Marley didn't take anything.
Yeah, no.
Everything he did very seriously as like an edict from God.
Oh yeah,
He
huge
was-
amount of respect from Bob.
He was an amazing man in a lot of ways that I have loads of respect for. And
Ditto.
yeah,
Same here.
I don't think he could do something like, yeah, let's just hang out and have fun and smoke joints. At least not like openly, sort of in public.
Yeah, maybe not. Anyway,
To the best of my knowledge, if anybody can contradict me on that, you can give us a call here in the studio at 928-523-4554, or on the Facebook Late Night Law Review.
Yeah, got a Facebook page, and of course, listen to our show every Tuesday night at 10 p.m. here on KJAK, KJAK 1680 AM, Flagstaff online at www.kjack.org or www.soundtap.com/KJAK, and of course, you can download the SoundTap app onto your mobile device and listen to us that way.
So, just in the 10 minutes or so that we have left.
Jesus, really?
Yeah.
The show goes by fast.
Yeah, it's great. We just start getting talking, and next thing you know, we're out of time.
Yeah.
I would like to go over just a sort of quick what to do if you're harassed by the police. Specifically, sort of in relation to drugs, and also sort of what options they have.
Mhm.
And I think we can run through a super quick, very topical, just sort of touch on things sort of thing. So, Miles, I know
Yes.
this is extremely hard to imagine,
Mhm.
but imagine you're stoned.
Oh man. All right.
And you're walking somewhere.
I'm 19, probably African American.
Maybe you're walking out of your house. Oh man, that kind of hurt.
Sorry.
So you're walking out of your house, and
I'm just trying to get in the mindset of the media people I'm emulating.
you've got maybe a little weed in your pocket. You're gonna go to a friend's house,
Sure.
and you walk down the street, and oh shit, there's a cop right there, and he's like, "Hey, you, what do you think your response should be if a cop, at any time, no matter what, whether you have drugs or not, if a cop says, 'Hey, you,' your response could very easily be,
Okay, test, pressure. Am I being detained?
well done, sir. That is the magic words. I wish I had a big like sound effect for that.
Ding, 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 ding.
Am I being detained? I actually have somewhere to be. But I mean, if you need to talk with me, I can stop and talk with you if I'm being detained.
Mhm.
That's it. Like right there, boom.
And we've brought up this phrase before.
I would like to bring up this phrase every single week.
Right.
Am I being detained? No. Have a nice day, officer. I have somewhere to be.
Peace.
Um,
Biatch.
and that's that's the first thing. Whether you have a gram of weed in your pocket or like a kilo of heroin in your backpack, the cop says, "Hey, you," say, "Ooh, I got somewhere to be. Am I being detained?"
Mhm.
And hopefully, especially around campus with most of our audience, I would imagine that will be enough that the cop either really wants to fuck with you and therefore he will say, yes, you're being detained,
Right.
or he was just trying to see if he could get you to admit to doing something, which is their job. And so he'll say, no, you're not being detained, you can go. Or he might ask you a question and refuse to answer the question, whether or not am I being detained? Hey, do you know about this car over here? No, I'm sorry, officer, I really have somewhere to go.
Am I being detained?
Am I being detained? That's and sometimes they don't, especially younger cops or like older cops who've never been, who just sort of feel like they're above the law and the masters of everything, oftentimes feel kind of threatened by this or aren't really like aware of how to respond to it. But for the most part, am I being detained should instantly take it up a notch. Either you're free to go because they didn't have any reason to talk with you, or they really think that they have something on you or that they can get you to give them something. So am I being detained? Yes, you actually are. That's where it gets complicated because the laws, especially the Fourth Amendment search and seizure laws, are pretty vague as a result of the drug war. Like explicitly, one of the major purposes of the war on drugs is to give the police more authority to search more people.
Mhm.
And that's really complicated. I was really sort of imagining, fantasizing, living in a dream world that thought that I would have about 25 minutes to explain that this evening. But no, so once they say you're being detained, they can pretty much pull anything out that they want. You know, I was walking down the street, I was driving down the street, whatever, and I thought I smelled some marijuana. Do you smell marijuana? Is that your marijuana? Whoa. So that's our next step. Is if you're being detained, they have to say what they're detaining you for.
Right.
And it can be pretty much anything. And in fact, a smell is the most often used excuse.
Yeah.
Although you looked suspicious, I thought you were passing a thing amongst yourselves, you were huddled together, I didn't know. Those sorts of things can also be there. But usually it's, oh no, I smell something, because there's no way to prove that. That's entirely subjective and entirely unprovable. They can write that down in a document, and suddenly it is a law. It is a fact
Right.
that can be brought in front of a jury.
Handy that.
Yeah. And so oh, I smelled something. Do you have any drugs on you? The easiest answer that I can think of is, it is against the law for you to lie to a police officer. Absolutely against the law. You can go to jail for a considerable amount of time. Inversely, the police, it's their job to lie as much as they can to get you to say something incriminating against yourself.
Sure.
So remember those two key components of any interaction with the police. You cannot legally lie to them,
And they will lie to you.
They are going to lie to you. Those are two absolute facts that you should really keep in mind. So with a drug situation, like the only thing I can really advise is either, if you're pretty good at like verbal maneuvering, if you're like, say, a political science major who does some like debate, or if you're like, I don't know, in the media, then it's pretty easy to be like, drugs? Why would I have drugs? What makes you think I have drugs? Put it back on them, right? Or oh man, you know what? I smell it too. I wonder where that is. Don't answer their question. Like, it's not against the law to not answer them. It is against the law to lie to them.
Okay.
And as we said before, the Fifth Amendment protection from testifying against yourself has been somewhat taken away. And so in a sort of random stop situation, if you choose to claim the Fifth Amendment, you know what? I'm not going to answer that question because I have the right not to answer your questions.
Mm-hmm.
That it would be difficult to use that in court. They couldn't use that fact in court as a sign that you were extra suspicious, but they could use the fact that they smelled the weed on you, or that you looked suspicious, and you refused to answer questions. Won't be allowed to be entered into testimony,
Right.
but they can usually make some shit up and search you anyways. What they can do is, if they're detaining you, they can, according to the Supreme Court, they can pat you down to see if you have any weapons on you. And oh, hey, wait, that feels a lot like some marijuana there in your pocket. Is that some marijuana? I don't know what you're talking about. I wouldn't know what marijuana feels. What does marijuana feel like?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what marijuana feels like? Huh?
Seem like you have more experience than me, officer.
Those, if you can divert, if you can sort of get around it, there is a considerable possibility that they are going to put you in handcuffs, and once they take you into custody, they can search you legally before they can put you in a cell, for the safety of yourself and other inmates.
Yeah.
So at that point, you're kind of fucked. But you do have a defense, right? You didn't lie to the cop, and you didn't testify to the cop. Oh yes, officer, I do have this.
Right.
So at that point, they have to prove not only that you had it, but that they had the right to search you for it. And it's possible, although not super likely, it's possible that the prosecutor might think there's not enough evidence for them to push the charge. And it's also possible that a jury might be like, why the fuck are you stopping this guy or gal?
Right.
They didn't do anything.
So in that situation, you might get arrested, but you also have a slimmer chance of actually going to prison.
Of actually having any harmful
Yeah.
effects.
And man, the people they lock up. Don't want to get off topic, but I don't have the exact statistics in front of me. But first-time drug offenders in prison, oh my God, it's like 30% or something. I don't have, like I said, don't have the exact stats in front of me, but first-time drug offenders make up a large percentage of the prison population. And in a lot of ways, I think, when I'm reading stories about these issues, you can tell sort of what kind of person the judge is by how they respond with first-time drug offenders.
So I don't know specifically about first time, but I do know I do have a thing in Arizona. Arizona is one of the harshest, as you might imagine. 55% of drug arrests are for marijuana.
55% of drug arrests are for marijuana in Arizona.
Right, and in Arizona, possession of 1 ounce can give you 18 months and $150,000 in fines.
Why don't you go find somebody with some real drugs? Fucking cops.
And I mean, I was hoping to get into an argument that real drugs should also not be handled in this way. Real drugs also should not be illegal, and that criminalizing real drugs does a whole lot of harm to everyone and has a specific political purpose in order to keep certain people in power and certain people out of power.
I agree with that completely, but I think that you can make... I think that you get... The marijuana debate's easy, right? Marijuana debate is easy shit. Like, it's not hard to make your case for why that particular substance should be decriminalized. Gets a little more difficult when you get to the harder drugs, in my opinion, but that's not to say I don't agree with you.
I mean, I would argue that a lot of that is cultural, and a lot of that is like ingrained into us. A lot of stuff that we're trained in.
Completely.
And that if we looked at it analytically, if we looked at it through sociological perspective, if we looked at it through psychological perspective, if we looked at it in a variety of ways, there's really not a huge difference between cocaine and tobacco, between heroin and refined sugar. Like these are things that have very similar effects on the body.
Oh, coffee.
And that ultimately are similar categories of human experience and human realities. But not to get distracted from the what I consider to be like the useful part of the show, and giving sort of ideas about legal stuff and how to deal with it. I just want to point out that having rolling papers can be an additional charge if you happen to have marijuana on you, because the rolling papers become paraphernalia.
Sure. Okay.
Or a container that your marijuana is stored in can also be considered paraphernalia.
Obviously, pipes and stuff like that.
Pipes, anything like that, and it's really easy to get arrested for drugs.
Yeah.
That's
especially here.
Sort of the goal of the whole drug laws is that they want to be able to arrest pretty much anyone at pretty much any time, or at least search them and harass them.
Mm-hmm.
And so I found a really pretty good song that pretty well talks about what I think a good response sort of to being harassed could be.
It shouldn't be 2 hours long.
Yeah, for sure.
I appreciate it. You know what we're trying to do too. Man, you messed up this time. They want to give you the max. What the hell happened, man? What the hell happened, man?
Just trap nigga, said we got bowls in the living room, white on the stove. A couple $1,000 beans, no rice for them though. Got a house full of scrubs and niggas running patrol. We got one on the porch, we got one at the door. We got kids in the back room and about 3 or 4. They mama ain't here, we sent the bit to the store. We need a bag for the green, a razor blades for the blow, a rubber band for the money, and tissue and soap. Okay. Trap house jumping off the hinges for the dope. When the nigga on the porch is on the phone. So he can catch the Nas pulling up like he was pole. Or he can send the word, they already in the door. Boys pure chaos running the back doors, trying to flush a whole sack of salt down the commode. And these niggas ain't even old enough to vote. Let me speak to my lawyer. Yeah, let me speak to my lawyer. Yeah, let me speak to my lawyer. Let me
Backseat of the squad car. Get rid all the shit I'm being charged for. It's just shut a nigga down like garage doors. They found enough firepower to start a small war. We can't blame society, it's all our fault. This is when niggas start snitching and cut their time off. They keep searching the house and finding more and more. They taking the good kids away, we can't do nothing for. They busting walls open, cutting up sofas and mattresses, just to find out where all the cash is hid. I don't know shit about shit, so don't ask me shit. We knew the rich, yet we still couldn't imagine this. And nigga in the house pumping packages, and now we all getting charged like batteries. You think I'm giving niggas up? It ain't happening. Be great why even let you niggas capture. Let me speak to my lawyer. Yeah, let me speak to my lawyer. Yeah, let me speak to my lawyer. Let me speak to my lawyer. Let me speak to my lawyer.
I'm going to do one quick. So to summarize, our friend Don Tripp, that actually came off of a video on YouTube. It's loads of fun. So to summarize our friend Don Tripp, when you're in the back of the police car and they've got all the shit and they've got all the guns, they've got all the money and they know everything, and they say, okay, start talking, you say,
Let me speak to my lawyer. Oh,
if they're trying to get you to cut time off, that means they don't have enough to get everybody.
Right.
So stand up and take what you can and be strong and refuse to say anything, not a single fucking word, until you see a fucking lawyer.
do not cooperate.
And on that note,
We're out. We will check you guys next week here Tuesday night at 10 o'clock p.m. on KJAC Radio. This has been Old Man Miles along with
Skylar C.
Skylar C here on the Late Night Law Review. We'll catch you guys later.
I just